everybody. Hello, hello, hello. What could it be that we're going to talk about today? Could it be Takopi's original sin? Could it be? Yes. Yes! You know, I've realized that since I don't like editing, editing myself, edited videos look way better than non-edited. I was like, well, I can make videos that need minimal editing, and that might be the extent of my ability. Kind of like the middle of a stream that's live and not, you know what I mean? Something like I'm doing stuff in real time, but I'm still recording it so things can be edited later. Yeah, I'm not always going to do this. The reason why is because I have a bunch of edited stuff in progress, and the person I use as my editor, who's great, by the way, I think they have 2 or 3 things in their queue right now from me, and I'm like, oh, because I know they're busy. I know they have like a life, and even though there's some other editors I use sometimes, honestly, I'm not that big of a fan. There's only one other one that's decently good, but they're so expensive that I usually use them if I want something really, really short and specific, because that person, I feel like that person's really good at kind of like wholesome games. Anyway, for that reason, I'm gonna try something new out and see how it goes. So, unlike the other anime review you've been looking at, the bad anime reviews, this is a good anime review. What? It's a miracle. So, Takopi's original sin, I ended up seeing, so as you can see, I have an omnibus. Look, it's my hands. Look, it's the real manga. Look, it's notes, because I'm a weirdo, and I took notes, and I did things beforehand. I did research. To be fair, I actually do a lot of research. It just kind of like sits in my brain until I need it. I really, really loved this manga when it came out. It kept showing up all over the place, and like on Amazon, on other sites, IRL. And finally, I'm like, why does this manga keep showing up for me? And I just bought it with like no information, which I rarely do, but honestly, I loved it. Loved it. It's so well done. So when I saw that they were making an anime, I was really surprised, because I'll go into it in a second, but basically it has some pretty intense content. Also, I don't know why sometimes I disappear. Don't worry about it. Pretend it's not happening. But basically, so anyway, I ended up buying this with basically no info, and I was like shocked how much I enjoyed it. I was also surprised to see that they were making an anime this year, because the content is rough. It looks like it's going to be a 6-episode miniseries, which makes sense, because my other surprise is that I thought it would be maybe a movie. A miniseries is better because they can address everything that happens in the manga. Because as you can see, this is just notes from the first episode. Look how much it already addressed in the first episode. So I knew this couldn't be a 12-episode series. Let me get into the content warnings, because that is important before we continue. So thankfully, at least the version on Crunchyroll has content warnings that they added, and the Japanese original version has them too. So this is the first one. This program contains depiction of suicidal behavior that may be upsetting to some viewers. If you or someone you know needs help, visit crisishelpresources.com. There's also like a lot of crisis support online, but that one probably has a good compilation of them. The other one that they added in Japan was this one. Different, but similar feel to it, right? This work contains some sensitive depictions involving life and death. These scenes have been visually portrayed with respect for the original story's intent, and are by no means intended to encourage or promote such actions. We hope you enjoy the bittersweet yet happy story of Takopi and the children, as they face their extraordinary fate and accompany them through their journey. Takopi's Original Sin Production Committee. I feel like that says a lot, because in Japan, I don't see a lot of content warning. I see more content warning when it comes to stuff like, don't steal, kids, like especially for younger kid anime, they add stuff like that a lot. But once something is past, I would say preschool, elementary school age, they don't add any of that, at least as far as I know. I will add that in addition to what was mentioned, there is a lot of mention of suicide, and we will be showing images of it. So if that's something that bothers you, maybe pick a different video. I have plenty of other videos that are not as stressful as this one. Maybe pick my bad anime reviews. There's literally nothing in that except crap. Some of the other things that are addressed are a lot of bullying, abuse, like all over the place, sexual, physical, emotional abuse, mostly from the parents to the kids. There's also animal abuse. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of. So, yeah. I will say it does not tend to be graphic. I feel like the most graphic and impactful thing happens in episode 1 that we'll talk about in this episode, which is that you do have to see the impact of somebody dying by suicide. A lot of the other ones, they tend to cut away right when something's going to happen. Does that make sense? You will see you'll see some bullying, like someone being hit, and when something more intense than that's going to happen, they cut away to something else. With the animal abuse, I don't believe they show any explicitly, but it's definitely, like, you definitely know what happened. You see what I mean? So there's a balance of it. Anyway, now that we've put that aside, I will start talking about this. I'm mostly just talking about episode 1. I am going to do my best to not spoil you all with the stuff that happens later in the series. No promises, just because I may accidentally allude to things. But I will definitely try to not make any comments of some of the big reveals that happen later on, some of the big story points. I don't know if I'll be doing another video past this one. I at least want to just talk about episode 1. Since it's only 6 episodes, I might do other ones. I might do something shorter for episodes 2 through 6, or I might not do anything. I'm not sure right now. So this could be the only episode I do of this series, or I might do one more or a few. I have no clue. But let's assume this is the only one I'm going to do, at least for now, since I'm on the fence about the other ones. Now, as you can see from the opening, this is Shizuka, which is the main character. And tied around her finger, which, as you know, well, actually, maybe some people don't know, but that's a very common symbolism, at least in Japan. I feel like I've seen it in other Asian countries as well. I'm just not as familiar with media from other countries, because I believe I've seen this in some Chinese comics as well. But basically, when you have something tied to your left pinky, that usually means that you're connected to someone really strongly. Often it means a soulmate, but not necessarily. I've seen it also used like with friends or people that your fate is going to be intertwined. So this is very important. In the original English version, if you were to see what the cover of the second volume looks like, it would show you someone else, and it would tell you who's connected to this person, if that makes sense. Once you get to that in the manga, it's even in this one, it's very obvious because you see that image. And Takopi in the first episode gives Shizuka this item that's like a bow string, which is also what this is referring to, which I'll get to in a little bit. So the intro to the anime and manga are pretty different. Just so you know, I'm going to be showing parts of the anime on the top and obviously the manga, the physical copy, on the bottom. I have it muted so that hopefully I will have less issues with copyright. It does have subtitles in English. That's what we're going to be looking at. But I feel like seeing it moving makes more sense than me using stills for what I want to talk about. So let's look. This is the very beginning of the series, right? Notice that instantly even the logo is like kind of fucked up. Right at the beginning of the series, all you see, kids playing around. This is Shizuka, and she finds Takopi basically hiding in some tubes by her school, and Takopi's all fucked up and sad. You see? He's like, oh. This scene I thought was so well done because it gives you that kind of ominous feeling at the beginning, but it also has the camera angle changing, right? Well, you know, camera angle and animation is a little bit different, but it's the same concept, where you see the camera angle flip around, which kind of gives you the sense that maybe you're walking with Takopi in the tube, since Takopi can kind of like attach to anything. See? I think this shot is really good. I will say, I think they did a really good job with the anime. Some of the qualms I have is that I feel like with Shizuka, and I'll probably come up in a minute, they tried to make her look like the manga. I kind of wish they would have made her even more simplistic and not tried to replicate the manga's style, because you can't really do that. So if you haven't already noticed, Takopi is sitting right next to me on the desk, and that's a good example. So this is how he looks in the manga. Well, if he had color, which is only, I think, in the covers and things. And the anime one looks pretty much the same. The thing is with Takopi, it's such a simple design. You can't really make it more simplistic except for the color. But with Shizuka, because the art style is can be very sketchy. I'm just going to open to a random page. A little bit sketchy. I mean, it's manga, right? It's like I'm trying to find something that's not going to spoil anything for you all. Well, I'll show you some more in a little. Oh, wait, actually, this is a good example. It looks kind of sketchy, right? And the art style is definitely not perfect. Like, the necks are too long. The arms are too long. They're all like really lanky, weird looking characters. I like this style a lot, but I like characters that look a bit off. And if you can see from the cover, right? Very different. So I think even eventually in episode 1, they kind of calm down, and it seems like they're trying not to make it as sketchy as the manga, which is for the best. So this is how the manga starts, which is similar and yet pretty different, right? Hello, who's there? What is that? And you can see it's like, oh, is that a monster? It's like a tentacle creature, but Shizuka is already right in front of it, which I think the anime does a little bit better of like, setting the scene that these are a bunch of kids coming home from school. At the same time, when I'm reading a manga, sometimes I do want it to start instantly with something more intense. And then instantly, I'm just hungry, P. Which is very different. Eventually, Takopi does say that in the manga, but that's the first thing you see from him. And actually, this was originally in color, and if you can see, this is the image that's actually on my desk, but I have the color version. That makes sense. Also, what's very different is look how fucked up Shizuka looks. That is definitely not the same Shizuka that we're seeing in the anime. I thought that this was really impactful because you instantly see how beat up her face is, right? As compared to the anime. And then the manga instantly goes into, I'm a Happy from Planet Happy, and then I actually don't know what pronouns to use for Takopi. I tend to go between he and it, but I don't know, or I don't remember if it's ever actually discussed. Because so I read this manga right when this version came out, so I don't remember all the details, but I'll probably go back between he and it. The difference, too, is that in this one it explains that he actually was running away from animal control, and then it hid into one of those tubes until Shizuka found it. And you can see it's really happy because it got some food from Shizuka. Wait, I'm trying to let the camera zoom in. There you go. I thought about doing this with images, like grabbing them online somewhere if I could. But at the same time, it's like, nah, I kind of want to use my actual manga because I own it. So that's how this anime starts. Here, let's get to it. They actually have an intro, obviously, because it's an anime. And the intro does a great job of showing the disparity between both worlds in a way, and the sense of like Shizuka's world is pretty messed up and depressing. And Takopi's world is like full of happiness and joy and innocence in some ways. You see, this is also how they give you the info of how Takopi got to where the story starts, kind of. It's like, oh yeah, all these terrible things supposedly happened before Takopi found Shizuka. Maybe. It's very weird to me that the opening is like, well, oddly bright and colorful, because I would say that that's not this anime or manga. They still do a good job of showing how all of the parents of the kids are pretty uninvolved at best. But for example, in this scene in the opening, this is Marina. She bullies Shizuka really horribly. And they show it as if it's not that big of a deal. And you can see Takopi's trying to unite them with the string. And it's like, no. Which makes sense later on. My point is that I thought they did a decent job with the opening of trying to express both sides of what's going on. I was just very surprised to see it. Oh, and this too. The fact that this is how they animated it for Takopi's description of its world and universe, I thought that made a lot of sense, right? Because again, through this manga, what you'll see, or anime, you know, this series, is that Takopi is a very innocent, sheltered, childlike creature who does not really live in reality. Throughout, even now, having already read it and thought about it for a while, I don't know if it's that Takopi is really extremely younger than the characters, or it's just that it was so sheltered that it just doesn't understand what the characters are going through, because Takopi is so disconnected from the harsh realities of the world that it often misunderstands things and causes unintentional harm. I wouldn't say that any of the things that happen are its fault at all, even though the title would make you think that. There's only a few large mistakes it makes, but I think it's partly due to its childlike nature and not understanding the consequences of its actions. Oh, because one thing I did too is I was wondering if Takopi's original sin, I wanted to know, is that the title they gave it for the translation? Did they change it from the original? But actually, no, that is a direct translation. They did not alter it at all. I mean, it's in English, but you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes titles are changed really dramatically. This one is actually completely accurate. Also, I haven't mentioned their name. This is the author. They use a username clearly, Taizan5. I will just warn you. After I read this, I was so impressed that I was like, I'm going to find whatever else this person has made and I'm going to read it instantly. And they have another one called, is it Ichikawa Family or something like that? It's really bad. It's really, really bad. It starts out potentially interesting. That one's about a family that supposedly is in like a car accident, all of them. I think it's a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad, and a grandma. I think it's, 5 people. They have this car accident. All of them end up in the hospital. All of them have amnesia. At the beginning, it starts kind of interesting in that they still put them all to live together to try and get their memories back. They are a very close-knit family who seem to care about each other a lot. But as their memories come back, they realize, oh, that was not really the truth. They actually had a lot of problems. They were not close-knit. And a lot of them have different secrets that they were dealing with. Like, I think the sister is in a, well, I say relationship, but I wouldn't call it a relationship. The sister is with this much older guy. I think the dad might be cheating on the mom and has like a secret family. The main kid, who's really innocent, was actually a jerk. There's just a lot of stuff. But then it just goes off into this weird world of, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then there was this secret, and actually we lost our memories again, and then there was another secret. It is not good. I would really say, just skip it. I'm gonna wait for this person's next thing. I read the whole thing anyway, and I'm hoping it'll be good. This one was so good that I wondered maybe this person is better at shorter series, because I feel like that one, the longer it went on, the worse it got. All right, sorry. Let's get back to Takopi, which is what we're here for. So, let me see. We already went through this. Oh, and the reason why it's called Takopi is because it kind of looks like a little octopus thing, right? And the real name, Shizuka couldn't pronounce it. But it's also because, I forget the reasoning, but in Japan, there's a connection between aliens and octopus. There's a reason that became, like, connected. So now, that's why in Japan, mentions of being like a Martian or an alien often look like octopi, because that connection happened, 40s, 50s. I wish I could remember the reason at this point. I cannot, but there is a specific reason, and then it just kind of continued. So sort of in the same way that those like green or gray aliens with the big eyes in the West are very common depiction. I guess, well, not so much anymore, but a pretty common depiction of aliens. In Japan, it's an octopus. So Takopi being an octopus and an alien is like, yeah, that would not be an unusual thing for Japanese media. Okay, so if you all have read or at least know about Doraemon, Takopi starts to do similar things. So like, oh, here's one of my happy gadgets. It's called Flappy Wings. And Shizuka's like, no thanks, I don't want that. Because Shizuka's world is pretty miserable. She's being bullied horribly at school. Her mom is never at home. I can't remember if her mom was abusing her as well, but basically, or abusing her more directly, because she is neglecting her. She doesn't give her any food. She doesn't clean the house. It's basically Shizuka dealing with stuff on her own with her dog. And that's it. But Takopi thinks, oh, she must not want it because humans must be able to fly all the time. And that's why she's not interested. It doesn't understand, like, no, clearly this person's going for a really rough time and they're not interested, because what Shizuka says is, even if I could use it, it wouldn't change anything, which is this scene right here. Now, what I found interesting is that in the manga, right, Takopi's just saying, oh, you should use these little wings, and starts explaining what the wings look like. But I really loved the animation of this and how it showed it here. Let me find it. Yeah. This is one of my happy gadgets. And see, it like stretches it around itself, puts it on, the wings become a part of its body, it flies off. It shows Shizuka, hey, look at all the cool things you can do, and it's very happy. I just really thought that the animation was great, and see, then it pulls it back out of itself. There's a lot of things like that where in the animation, because obviously it's a different media, right? They can do things that the manga can't. They're really good at showing the lack of physics, basically, of Takopi. The fact that Takopi can kind of mold itself into small spaces and is kind of like, almost like this gelatinous blob. There's another scene that shows this really well that I'll show later. So that was pretty impressive. Let's see. This is why I marked all the stuff in the manga, so I remember what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so this is a very important scene. At some point, basically, Takopi's just been like, hey, I'm trying to give Shizuka all these happy gadgets, and Shizuka's like, I don't really care about any of this, because again, none of these gadgets are going to fix her life. None of them are going to stop the bullying. They're not going to make her mom stop being terrible. They're not going to make her dad come back. So finally, Takopi takes a picture of them, and I just think it's so cute how in the manga, she looks so unhappy. She's just like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But this camera is extremely important, because even though Takopi is trying to tell Shizuka, hey, it has a special function, Shizuka's like, I don't really care. Because as you can see, it's like, oh, I have to go shopping again for shikashi? Shikashi? You know, like the pencil boards. And you can see stuff like this where her backpack is full of insults from people. It's all beat up because, again, the bullying is really extreme. So she's more worried about, well, I got to figure out how to buy another pencil board because they broke it for the millionth time. Hence why she doesn't let Takopi finish talking about what the camera does. So what she doesn't know is that the camera actually lets you go back in time. And this, I'm only talking about the first episode. Lets you go back in time to when the picture was taken, which is important later on. How they show this, though, let me see. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Huh. See, I actually like how it looks a bit better in the manga, because I think it shows her being unhappy more clearly than here. But she's like, why not use a smartphone? Who needs this? Yeah, I'm like, I don't really understand. But see, in the anime, you can also notice, like, oh, her backpack is beat up. I think it's a little bit more obvious in the manga, but it's the same thing. See, you're like, oh, things are pretty rough at school for you right now. And Takopi's like, oh, okay, well, bye. Because again, Takopi does not completely understand what's going on. At some point, Shizuka starts talking about her dog Chappie. They show them playing together. And I thought that the scene where they show Chappie shaking Takopi was better in the anime. But here you can just see like the differences of Shizuka smiling, how happy she is. I think the manga has a really good pace. Although it tends to focus on really common, like regular panels. And what I mean by that, you know, like regular rectangular or square panels. Only sometimes does it do things that are a bit more exciting. But when it does do something that's more exciting, it's more impactful, I think, because of the fact that most of the manga is done this way, right? Like in the beginning, where you have this big 2-page thing spread showing Takopi and Shizuka meeting, for example. So let's find when in the anime they meet Chappie. Oh yeah, it's right around here. Similar idea, right? Oh, Chappie. Shizuka's smiling because Chappie is great. But the way that Chappie yeah, how they show Chappie tearing poor Takopi like that was a lot cuter and funnier, I think, than in the manga. This is what I mean. I mean, I like the manga more, to be honest with you. However, I thought it was pretty impressive how they did some of the things in the anime as well. I like when anime take into consideration, yes, keeping like the story beats, but also doing things that, you know, you can't do in an anime. It is clear that they really tried to make sure to cover everything that was going on in the story. They're not cutting anything weirdly. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you this in the anime first, and then I'll show you what this looks like in the manga. Let's see. So you can see, basically, they're having a good time with Chappie, right? Okay. She eventually goes home. I just want to show the next day. Okay. She eventually goes home. She's finally a little bit happier than she's been in the entire episode so far. And this is how she looks the next day. When they zoom out, you can see that, well, it's hard to see in this size, but basically she's holding Chappie's collar. She's extremely beat up, as you can see, and the dog's not there anymore. I prefer, it's not bad, but I prefer how it was done in the manga. In the manga, you can see this, right? See you tomorrow. She's standing there happily. Chappie looks really happy. You can see this is like the last page of these two. So when you flip the page, you have the comparison, right? So her looking really happy with Chappie, flip the page. Oh, shit. There she is looking unhappy with Chappie's collar. And stuff like this is really important in manga to think about, well, comics in general, but I'm just talking about manga right now. When the reader is moving from one page to another, that's a good time to add in something that's dramatic, because obviously you can't, if you're reading it the way it's supposed to be read, like printed, right, not online, then you can't see ahead. So this is more impactful. You see what I mean? And this author does a really good job with things like that. That's what I was trying to say before, that even though they normally use pretty standard comic panel boxes, when they break out of that, it's for an impactful reason. And I do like how the anime tried to recreate that bit, right? By basically having Shizuka's face and then flipping to the next day, a close-up of her face, then zooming out, and then you see what happened. I think that does make more sense in animation because of the fact that you're getting a similar, what's that called? Dissolve? Fade? I forget what that edit is called. That you're basically, you know, you're holding on the same face while it's changing. Let's go back because I know you saw it a minute ago, but... See, similar, but not quite the same. Zoom in on the face, her looking happy, fades into her looking zoomed in, but all messed up the next day. You see what I mean? For animation, I do think this works better. And then the reveal is created by zooming out instead. So now we're going to get to the scene where someone died of suicide. I'm just letting you know, even though I gave you all a warning beforehand, this is when we're going to talk about it. So after that happens, Shizuka disappears. Takopi's really worried about her, obviously. And it's looking all... Well, first it was waiting for her to return. Then... Oh, I should tell you all this, I guess, for the story reasons. So basically, because this is important story-wise. I don't know why I didn't mark it in the manga. Basically, Takopi is like, oh, if you're having a fight with a friend, I have this little ribbon, and I can give this to you so you can make up with your friend. And clearly, he doesn't understand what's happening. He doesn't really understand bullying, how she's being treated. He thinks it's just a battle between friends. And you see her for the first time accept one of his happy items, right? Then Takopi's looking for her everywhere and can't find her, but eventually goes home. Before I show you what happens there, in the scene when it's giving her the item, in the anime, they made it obvious what was going through her mind by making her eyes change. Let's see. The reconciliation ribbon, which is the ribbon from the cover, which I mentioned before. You tie this to your pinky finger with your friend and you both become friends again. This is cool that in the anime, they really focused on the ribbon spreading, but if you look at her face, her eyes change, see? And that's how you know, oh, something's wrong, besides what's obvious. So in the manga, they couldn't really show the physics of the ribbon in the same way that they can in the anime, right? How much it stretches and moves, how cute it looks when the ribbon is all over. And even though Takopi's not supposed to give it to anyone and always be under supervision, Takopi's like, no, I trust Shizuka. I'm gonna give her the ribbon. But as you all saw, like, they did that interesting change of her pupils, which they could not do in the manga. In the manga, the scene is a lot shorter. You know? It's not quite the same. There is a focus on her eye, and they do try to do something, but I felt that this line was her looking at the ribbon. Maybe that's what they were trying to do in the anime too, actually. But to me in the anime, because of how it looked, it just made it look like her eyes were changing. And see, they couldn't do the same thing of like making it obvious how stretchy and how many things the ribbon can do. Those are the things that the anime did better, is showing the different physics of magical items and things like that. So, if you hadn't guessed already, what happens is that when Takopi finds Shizuka, Shizuka has used the ribbon to die by suicide, as you can see. And I remember when I saw this, I was so distressed that I was like in shock, but then I was like, let me just move to the next page. And the reason why I mention that is because in the anime, they don't let you do that. Because obviously, I mean, I guess you could fast forward, but you know, you don't control the pacing of the anime like you can with manga. So in the anime, you see Takopi is like, oh, where's Shizuka? Where's Shizuka? I should find her. Because maybe she'll get tangled in it since it extends infinitely. And then you see Choppy's thing is empty. It gets to her house. So the scene is much longer. You see his shocked face, Shizuka's legs hanging, and then they eventually zoom out to show you everything that's going on. You see Takopi looking at the ribbon tied to the rafters. You see a perspective from Shizuka's perspective, basically, looking down almost. And then you're forced to look at this scene for, I feel, a long time. Does that make sense? And you just see Takopi come slowly to the realization of what has happened. So some of this was like so interesting, well, and disturbing, obviously, to see. Let me not keep it on screen. Let's put something else on screen. I don't know what. Yeah, let's keep that on screen. In the manga, you still are forced to deal with that, but it's because of the 2-page spread. Because you're going from, I'm searching, I'm searching, I'm searching, I'm here. Shizuka, clear that it found her, right, and is looking at her. And then you see the 2-page spread. I still like this better, in part because I can control when I switch to the next page, which is what I did. Even though eventually I remember coming back when I was in a better place and looking at all of this, because you can see, I think this is the first time you can see how clearly how dirty the house is and how bad her living situation is, right? I won't keep showing you that, but in the anime, because the anime controls the pacing, it does things like, oh, you're seeing Takopi's face, you're seeing Takopi looking at the ribbon in the rafters, you're seeing Takopi looking at Shizuka's legs, you're seeing from Shizuka's perspective looking down, and then you're forced to look at Shizuka just like barely moving, hanging from the rafters for some period of time. So it's just a very different emotional response. I was so uncomfortable and surprised when I saw especially them holding at that last shot of her moving slightly when she was hanging there, you know? And they also have a scene, which I don't think I'm going to show, of when she falls down, when Takopi releases her from the ribbon. You also are kind of forced to look at her dead body on the ground for a while, which I believe does not happen here. Sort of. I'm not going to show you. I don't want to keep disturbing you. It's hard to explain. It's different. But at some point, let's move on. Sorry. I did warn you, though. At some point, Takopi's like, well, I did take that picture from a while back, so thankfully we can go back in time. And with that, I just still like how the picture in the manga is so like, meh. With that, it's like I can go back in time and maybe I can save her, right? Which is what happens. And here, I'm stopped at the same scene. So in this one, mostly Takopi's kind of explaining it for the reader, I guess, but it's for like its own thoughts. And like, oh, I just want Shizuka to smile. That's the most important thing to me. So I'm going to do that. Of course, in the anime, since they have, you know, color and movement, they can make it look a bit more magical. And so you see how the item starts. Oh, and I don't know that they mention here how long Takopi's been on Earth, actually. So see, it's actually, this scene is pretty different. So I don't even know that Takopi ever mentions the word suicide in the manga, at least not at this point. I do like how in the anime they show, this is probably one of the better scenes where they're showing how distressed Takopi is. Because overall, I think the manga does a better job of showing Takopi's inner thoughts and how much it doesn't understand what's going on. You know? But this has a similar, like, oh, I just want to see you smile, like this part. So they get to the same point, but it's very, very, very different. I actually thought that they were going to stop the first episode after this kind of part, so I was surprised that it continued. They packed a lot into the first episode. So eventually, don't worry, everything's fine, sort of. Takopi decides, oh, I'm going to go to school with you. And when it goes to school with Shizuka, you, the reader, can see stuff really clearly. Like this is, what was I going to say? Yeah, this is, I think, her name, right? So people have ripped it up, have written insults. This is her backpack in her cube. It's kind of hard to see, but basically it's just all like full of insults and things like that. Also clear that the teacher does not care and is doing literally nothing. Then you see the classroom and Shizuka's desk covered in things like dye. What else does this say? Sewer girl filth. It just has like poop on it. It's just a lot. So us, the reader, are like, yeah, if there was any doubt, she's obviously being bullied, but Takopi still doesn't really understand. So I want to go to the same scene. Oh yeah, this episode's like almost 40 minutes long. No wonder, because it does feel longer than you would think. Okay. This one, Takopi's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, because Takopi's not really saying what's going on. I'm gonna go write the thing. Okay, I'm gonna go to school with you. Yeah. And then you see it as flashes instead of it being more direct like it is in the manga. But you do see, let me stop here. The desk is the same, right? There's all these things covered. They're doing, what's this called? Like a fisheye lens, right? A fisheye lens style. I think to bring the focus of her. What does fisheye do? It just, I know the distortion helps sometimes to show people's mental state, right? It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. But it's interesting because Takopi, again, is so innocent, naive, that it doesn't understand that it's not even looking at the fact that the desk is covered in things and this is a problem, that she's clearly being bullied. Takopi is like, oh, this is school, interesting, you know, like it doesn't get it. And that's the consistent thing. I guess some people might find that annoying. I did find it a bit frustrating at first, but quickly I thought, you know, this character comes across like a really young child. So to me, it was almost like a 5-year-old with too much power, wanting to help its friend and not understanding how to do that. This, of course, is Marina, who's the bully, right? That's the first time you meet her. This is pretty similar. Good morning, Parasite. I kind of like the hair flip. And to be honest, I kind of wish the manga would have done the hair flip too. You see what I meant before, though, by the art being kind of weird? Like, even her face is a little weird. This person's style is consistently a little off, which I actually think works for a story like this where everything is really messed up. I just, again, was so disappointed by their other manga. Like, okay. This is a scene where Takopi's explaining how it's going to go to school without people noticing. So basically, oh, I'm going to give you this flower pin, and that way, when I put this on me, people will see only that you have like a flower in your hair, right? Instead of like me being there. And then Shizuka places it in like a, like a potted plant thing. But I really enjoyed the difference of this. This all was pretty much the same. And in fact, I kind of liked her face here a bit more. The reason why her face looks like this is because Marina, wow, how come you're wearing a chameleon flower in your hair? Which would seem normal, except that this person is like torturing her every day. So that's why she's instantly like, oh, I'm drawing too much attention and is scared. Hence why Takopi gets placed over here. But the way that they did this in the animation was so good. Remember I told you that they did a good job of showing like physics? Let me see. Actually, I might just let it play because it looks like it's going to happen right after. Marina-chan? See, she's already insulting her, and it's like, what? Okay. You can also see a little bit of how scared Takopi is, although I will say, I think that Takopi's fear is way more obvious in the manga than it is in the anime. All right, here we go. So it's talking about the thing, like, I'm going to put a flower thing on my head. I'm going to go into your, on your hair, and people will just see a flower. Why are you wearing a chameleon plant in your hair? But now watch how Shizuka puts Takopi away. See the same flower thing, but look at the physics. I thought that was really great. I saw that, and it's like, damn. They really did a good job of like the weird physics of this little alien ball person. So look, things continue. What you need to know story-wise is that Takopi's trying to help. It's not actually helping. Yeah, it's sort of helping, but also not really, because Takopi overall does not understand what's happening. Another difference I noticed is that when all this bullying is going on, and again, Takopi's just like naive, there's this one scene that the anime expanded a lot on. So, okay, everything is fixed. It was one thing after another, but finally the day came to an end. This one scene where it's hard to see, but basically Marina was trying to steal her, what is this, her math book? Yeah, her math notebook. And Shizuka didn't even know because it's in her backpack. And then you see someone probably tried to steal her backpack. And you can't see that barely, but it's Takopi using the wings to steal the backpack back from the person. They made this into a really long scene as part of a montage. Compared to this one panel, is what I mean. Okay, it's around here. Wait, it's a little bit, I think it's right. Yeah, it's about here. I still don't understand why she didn't want to eat her food. I'm a little confused about that. What the problem actually was. Maybe I'm being ignorant about something too. I know that sometimes people can get bullied for not eating all the food that they have on their plate. I would be in so much trouble. That's a constant problem for me. Yeah, I think it's around here. Okay, so she takes one of her notebooks, throws it in the trash. Takopi, so this is all that one panel I showed you. Takopi sneaks over, gets it, brings it back to Shizuka. So she's like, oh, I didn't even know someone had stolen my book. Marina's like, what the hell? I just bullied you and you didn't let me bully you. How dare you? Someone steals the backpack, was Marina again, throws out the damn window. Again, this is all that one scene expanded. It's like very satisfied with herself. Shizuka's like, well, I'm screwed. She's depressed because her backpack was stolen. And they do this cool, like, what's this called? You know, when you have, like, both scenes on at the same time. She's looking for her backpack. She's kind of almost giving up. Takopi's like, wait, I think I know where it is. Goes to find it. Even crosses over the line between the two scenes. Grabs the backpack, gives it back, and then Marina's mad because her bullying didn't work. So again, all of that is literally this one scene. Which, there is something else. I don't know that I marked it. But there was another scene that they did something similar where it was like one panel and they expanded on it quite a bit. Okay, things keep happening. Eventually, Marina's like, I'm going to meet you in the storeroom. Or no, you need to meet me in the storeroom. Excuse me, by the storeroom. Because I'm going to beat you up, is basically what it is. So Shizuka's hiding in the bathroom. And let me say, as a kid that had a lot of issues, I mean, I still have plenty of issues, I guess. I am very familiar with hiding in the bathroom, so this scene was very relatable. Takopi doesn't understand what's happening. And it's like, oh, I'll help you. So actually, the anime one, seeing the anime one first would be better. Okay. So you can see that Shizuka's in the bathroom, stressed out. Takopi's saying stuff like, if you just talk to her, you'd understand each other. And she's like, you're only saying that because you've never talked to her. Because again, Takopi clearly doesn't understand what's happening. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. But it can clearly see that Shizuka's upset. Could this be a serious fight? Even though all signs are pointing to it, including the things in front of its face, but... So then, Takopi is like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Transformation palette! I'm gonna get a piece of your DNA, I'm gonna put it in here, and then I'll turn into you. This transformation was pretty cool. And look, I'm you! What? I transformed to look just like you. That's like a very anime. I don't know. They did a great job with that too. But in the original, that's not what happened. I mean, it's similar, but some things were changed, and I think appropriately so. Instead, she's upset. You see Marina being like, what's keeping her? And again, it's another like page turn thing. Oh, and then that's also why the panel is bigger. I kind of wish it would have been a full page, but maybe it's not dramatic enough for that. I'm going to go in your place. And so you instantly go, actually, from Marina looking for her to already seeing Takopi as Shizuka. It's obvious because like, I'm sorry, P. I'll go in your body. I'll use this happy gadget. They kind of do that in the anime. I don't know if you noticed where you see Marina looking back and I think you see a glimpse of Shizuka, and then it explains and then it's obvious who it is, which we'll see in a minute. So the timing is not quite the same. It's a similar thing to what they did before of when they had like a focus on the face and then they zoomed out so you could see what was going on. But in this case, they had a very small point where you could see Marina seeing who it was and someone who looked like Shizuka getting close. And then they go back and show the transformation. Obviously, you can't, well, it would be much more difficult to do that type of transformation in manga. So instead, I'll go in your place. I'm going to explain how this is. I put a piece of your DNA inside, but you don't see Takopi taking her hair or anything like that. It's just saying it. I press the switch and morph into your form. So there's none of the transformation itself or the cool rainbows or Takopi looking really cute and adorable like in the anime, right? It's just poof, I'm off. So very different. But you get to the same point. You wait here, Shizuka-chan. I'll go talk to her for you, P. And Shizuka's like, oh god, this is not gonna go well. I'll take your place so you two can make up. About time. And then again, you see Takopi being like, sorry, P, everything's, you know. I'm not going to show you what happens because basically Marina beats the crap out of Takopi. I might show you a little bit of it in the manga because in the manga, when that's happening, it's much more obvious how scared Takopi as it is in the anime. Obviously, you can infer. It's obvious that Takopi is scared in the anime too. I just think because the manga is paced differently and you're able to read Takopi's thoughts, it's obvious to me, right? Like there's a lot of slapping and yelling and stuff like that and insulting Takopi. Takopi trying to be like, we should talk. And then finally realizing, oh, like, especially this scene in the manga, I think is much better done than the anime. Because you have Marina's insults that she's saying, right? The circle, because if it's a circle, that means that it's somebody talking. And then the squares or the rectangles, those are all thoughts usually, or a narrator. So Takopi is saying stuff like, I wanted to talk to her, but now my cheek is red. I'm kinda happy we never lay a hand on anyone so harshly. I can't stand up, P. Tears are, huh? She's scary. I don't even think this scene happens in the anime, actually, but especially seeing her face and all of this, to me, when the first time I read this, it was much more impactful because it's like the realization that Takopi's having of how scary Marina is and how horrible she is to Shizuka, you know? Like even this, it hurts, I can't talk. The pain, I want to cry, I want to run away, but because it's worried about Shizuka being hurt instead. See what I mean? Again, I'm not going to show you Takopi being beat up in the anime. You don't need to see that. At some point in this fight, Marina basically is going to stab Takopi in either the eye or the forehead. I'm assuming the eye, and then they cut away instantly. This is how it looks in the manga, which I will show you. So you can see Marina's eyes, right, looking really intense. She does stab Takopi once, and then it's obvious that she's going to stab it again. But I like how they made these two panels, because in this one, she's face, like you can see the side of her face and her hand kind of like that, like this. But then because they break through where the panels are, you can also see that from another perspective, this is going straight to Takopi's face. In the anime, it's kind of more obvious that's probably going to go into one of the eyes and going to hurt a lot, right? But you see that because the author broke through the panels, you can have these two different views at the same time and show the impact of it. I also like the intensity of her eyes and how they darken them when she becomes more terrible towards, well, anyone. In this case, it's Takopi. So you basically go to Takopi going back in time and then wanting to help Shizuka but not being sure how to. Oh yeah, it's this point. Shizuka's being treated harshly because of me. That's not true. So basically Takopi, because they still don't completely understand, because Marina says something like, you're too cocky lately, or when I'm trying to bully you, it's not working. Takopi's like, oh, if it weren't for me, Shizuka would be fine. It's like, no, it's because Marina's bullying her and Marina's terrible. So Takopi's in the bathroom thinking about this. Shizuka left. Takopi did not offer to take her place in this universe. Maybe I can fix things right this time. Come on, get moving, P. Go, P! But then it remembers what Marina looked like when Marina was beating it up the day before? Or you know what I mean, before the time thing. And then it's crying because it's scared. I'm too scared to take another step. Don't get me wrong. This isn't bad. I just think how the manga did it is better. Because I think, the pacing, right? It's my fault they're giving Shizuka a hard time. You see Shizuka walking away. This time I'm sure I'll be able to get them to make up. I'm right behind you, I'm coming, which is also this like, almost like hyperfixation. Well, that's not the right word. But like this like holding on to this being so naive about them being able to make up when that's clearly not what's going on. Takopi remembers Marina's eyes specifically. I like this better than what they just showed in the, let me move this, in the anime. But I'm so afraid I can't move Shizuka. And then similar, right? A similar scene to the one you see above. I want to help her. I want to take her place, but I'm a coward and but I have to. What I can't, Shizuka. Something about the pacing of this was more impactful to me. Eventually, Takopi decides to take Shizuka's place, go tell the teacher what's going on, and that eventually helps save Shizuka from not the entire beating, but at least the part where Marina was gonna stab her in the eye, you know? This is also when you finally sort of meet Naoki. He's been in the background, and he becomes more important later. I would honestly say, even though they show him in the back as if he's important, I would say the main focus is on the two girls. It's not that he's not important at all. It's just, I would say that the two girls are the most important, and he's like an important side character. But the two girls in Takopi are way more important than him, in my opinion. Also, it's interesting that he looks exactly like the main character in the other manga that this person made. Anyway, what else was I going to show you? Because the episode's almost over at this point. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This is just when Shizuka's actually telling Takopi, look, you've actually made things better for me. I realize that you're trying to help. Things have gotten a little better, basically, since you came around, you know? And Takopi's like, oh, I failed, but I'll keep trying to help you. It's also because Takopi knows that Shizuka dies by suicide. Or if Takopi hadn't intervened, that would have happened. And Shizuka doesn't realize that. What was the last thing I marked? Oh, right. Let's not show that yet. I want to show you the anime version yet. I mean, yet. First. Okay. This is the guy in the anime. See you! Bye-bye! He'll be important later, I guess. I think the only difference is that in the anime, they do a good job of foreshadowing just having this scene where you see, oh, this supposedly perfect, I think he's the student council president. Why does he look kind of distraught and sad where you did not see that in the anime? Oh, that's right. This is some more cute physics. You're the one that saved me, right, Takopi? The teacher was confused. Because basically, like I said, Takopi turned into Shizuka in order to be able to save her. But see, this is kind of like a similar... The scene is not very different, except they do cute physics with Takopi. It does feel a bit slower in the anime, but I do like things like this. You see what I mean? I think the animators had some fun with Takopi, which makes sense because Takopi is supposed to be kind of like this cute mascot character, right? And it is in the manga. It's just that you can't really do that type of physics in the manga. So the last thing that happens in the anime, I mean, for episode 1, clearly, is that you finally see a little bit of Marina's home life. She comes home. Her mom is bent over. As you can see, like, there was food. Now it's all thrown on the floor and all messed up. So you're like, wait, what the hell is happening? It's like, okay. Daddy said he's eating dinner with that woman. Oh. That woman is Shizuka's mom. Because basically, and they mentioned that in the first episode. Shizuka's mom and Marina's dad, I don't know that they're, hold on. Because Shizuka's mom is a escort. And the dad, I think, is paying for her. So that's not quite the same as like a relationship, but that's what's happening. And since that started happening, that's why Marina has been bullying her. Not that that excuses anything she's doing. But you can see that her mom is like really unhinged too. She's like picking at her ring. And then she goes over to Marina. This scene really disturbed me the first time when I read it. Marina starts crying because she's already scared of her mom, clearly. And won't move, which tells you a lot. And you also see how her pupils start to like go out and her mom touches her. I don't remember what they say because I remember the big points of the story, but I don't remember like everything. Let's put this on. I thought that the mom was like sexually abusing her, to be quite honest, and using her as like a pseudo parent. I was trying to put the rainbow one on. Is that what comes after this? No? Where's the rainbow? Hold on. It's important. Gotta have something cute for the end. At least you know that Chappie's still alive in this universe, so that's good. And Takopi is now living with them, which is definitely better than living in the tube. That's what I wanted to have on. So I assumed that her mom was like parentifying / sexually abusing her and emotionally and physically abusing her and all that stuff. That was the impression I had the first time I read that. I really don't remember how explicit they are about what the mom is doing to Marina. So obviously Marina's going through stuff. All three of them are going through a difficult time. It's not just Shizuka. However, obviously that doesn't excuse her bullying Shizuka and trying to like murder her at school. But, well, you gotta watch the anime to find out what happens after. So here's what it looks like or you can read the manga. Here's what happens in the manga. You basically see that Takopi's saying, you know, basically I'm doing all these things so that you won't have to die. But as she's like having a chill moment with her dog and Takopi, I guess Marina can't see Takopi. Marina's watching this saying, die. And then, how could my 10 days of after school bullying fail? How is that possible? What is it with her this week? She's getting so cocky. This is when she goes home. And then the difference is that in the manga, like I said before, you go from the kind of standard square rectangles to a, 3/4 of the page, basically, image. And that's when you see her mom, same thing, all these things kind of destroyed. The food's all messed up. Not only that, but you can see like, it looks like there's been fights or a lot of issues in this house. This is the back of Marina's head. Your daddy says he's having dinner with that woman. And you see Marina looking really freaked out. They do the same thing. I just think I think that this panel has more impact in the manga. I think that the ring panel has more impact in the anime. Because honestly, I didn't notice that even though it says fidget, but it's very small, I didn't notice that's what she was doing with the ring. In the anime, it's super obvious. Marina, I wish you'd come home earlier too. I don't think she said that in the anime, right? Mommy got yelled at again before you got here, Mari. And you see Marina's eyes going blank. Mari, you're on my side, right? You'll do whatever mommy asks, won't you? I think this is why I had the impression I said before. You see Marina closing herself off, looking really scared, same thing. And she's like, yes. And then she stands there. And the difference is, because I don't think there's anything past. Yeah. The difference is that while in the anime they show the mom touching her face, and I think that's where they hold here, you see the hand, it's really hard, it's hard to see, coming towards her face. And then you have a close-up of Marina looking really terrified and the fingers like just barely away from her face. And then the scene that we saw before that in the anime of them sleeping together happily is the end. So in the anime, as you saw, they had a little bit more of like them settling into bed, Takopi kind of like jumping up cutely on the pillow and all of that. And that's the end of the chapter. So it is 2 chapters, by the way. That's why I was surprised that they continued. Chapter 3 will be episode 2. I don't know if they're going to make all of them so long. Because again, this one's like 40 minutes. We'll see. It still makes sense that they're doing only 6 episodes. Because there's no way they could do 12 episodes. It would be, there's not enough material for that. Even with them extending the time a little bit with some of the things they're doing. Well, I've been yapping for a while. I feel like this video is going to be just as long as the episode. Oh my god, my cat looks so cute right now. You look so cute. You're just wrapped around the desk. You're so cute. Why are you so cute? Man, that's one of the many reasons why the first time I read the manga, the scene, that scene where you flip from what, oh my god, how did I land on the right page? When you flip from this page to this one, it really fucked me up. I mean, when my animals have passed away, I believe almost all of them have passed away from things like an illness, unfortunately. I haven't even had anyone that I've lost to an accident. I can't imagine losing an animal to someone killing it. Like, that would be horrifying. So, those are my thoughts on the anime and manga. Let me know what you think. It's one of those things where, I know a decent amount of how comics are made and how you're supposed to format them, and I would say at least some of animation. The struggle that I have when I'm describing it to other people, but maybe this will help me get better at it if I continue, I often don't know the exact terminology, because a lot of the things I've learned have been, intuitive isn't the right word, a lot of them I've learned from practice. So sometimes it's like, oh, I know this concept this person is talking about, but I don't know the term that people use, especially not in English. Because a lot of these terms I learned early on. And then some of the things I learned later, which probably would be a lot of the animation and film terms. Some of those I only know in English and I don't know in Spanish because I learned those later on as an adult. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned something. Sorry that it was kind of sad. I really recommend that you either watch the anime or read the manga. At least so far, the anime is doing a good job adapting it, so I'm going to hope that they continue to do that for the rest of it. I'm going to be really upset if they somehow mess it up. But if they do, for some reason, because you never know, I'm looking at you, Promise Neverland, then just get the manga. The manga is Takopi's Original Sin. It's by Taizan 5. Again, unfortunately, do not get the, whatever Ichinose family something. Don't get that one. I don't even know that they have an official English version. Don't get it. It's not good. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're interested, maybe just read the first volume, few chapters, and then just pretend nothing happened after that. Because it's not good. We'll see. I'm hoping, because I don't think that did well in Japan either, actually. I'm hoping to get another one. This one did so well, and the fact that it got approved from an anime recently, because when did this come out? This isn't new. Hold on. Oh, it's newer than I thought. It came out in Japan in 2021. I don't know why I thought it was like 2019 or something. Either way, because this one got turned into an anime, I think this person has a good chance of getting another manga. I'm hoping this time they'll let them make a manga that is shorter, where they can pick the ending, as in, like, they can pick how long it runs, because I really think the problem with the other one, what it felt like, is that they kept wanting this person to extend the manga, and it was not good. Alright, y'all. That's all I got to say for now. Let's go put back the intro image. Alright. Bye, everybody. If you end up watching Takopi's Original Sin, the anime, let me know what you think. If you've already read the manga, also let me know what you think. Oh, and are there any other manga or anime that you find similar? I would say Goodnight Poon Poon reminded me of this. Or opposite. This reminded me of Goodnight Poon Poon, except that one's a much rougher read than this one. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Do that. Takopi wants you to. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.